Be seated, please. Thank you, Byron. I did not have enough voice to sing today, but you left me no choice. I had to sing today. Thanks for that worship together. Good to see faces we don't get to see all the time, and they'll be happening more and more the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. Be sure and come back next Sunday if possible. We'll do something creative about Christmas, I pray. And so I'm not coming out of Matthew, so you read Matthew 16 and see what sort of Christmas sermon you would preach out of Matthew 16, because that's what I'm going to do next Sunday. So read Matthew 16 for next Sunday and see what sort of Christmas sermon you would write from that context. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Some charter members met Jesus in the parking lot one Sunday morning and told him that some of the folks in his class had been seen down at McDonald's, and they all had on bright red ties. And they just asked Jesus if he thought that was proper attire for people from church to be wearing at McDonald's. Jesus paused for a moment and looked at them. They headed for the door. He said, "You know what, guys? Y'all just go home. Well, we're charter members here. No, just go home. Your heart's just not in it this morning. Just go home." They questioningly turned, headed back to their cars. Jesus turned around and there was a foreign woman there that no one had ever seen before. She's asking him for stuff. He totally ignores her. Doesn't give her the time of day. Just turns his back. She comes around to stand in front of him and continues to talk with him. He again just acts like she's not there. Finally, she falls down on her knees in front of him and says, "Lord, help me." And Jesus says, "Let's go inside. I think you've got a heart for worship today." And he brings her inside. That's really the message of Matthew chapter 15. I don't guess they had McDonald's back then. They've been around a while, but not quite. But that's really the sermon. Can you imagine Jesus being in a remote area and some folks being sent all the way from Jerusalem out to where he is in this remote area? We're not exactly sure where that area is in Matthew 15. When they get there, here's what they say. "Why don't your disciples wash their hands before they eat?" Oh, man. That's like wearing red ties at McDonald's, isn't it? Jesus he's got to be scratching. Wait a minute. You came all the way from Jerusalem to ask me why my disciples don't wash their hands before they eat. Well, let me ask you a question. And he really is responding to them exactly the way they expect him to respond. He is a rabbi. They have addressed him as a rabbi. They ask why his disciples are acting in a certain way, and he immediately asks them a question. That's how rabbis taught. This isn't a strange and radical thing. It isn't anything else. This is exactly what they should expect. "Why do you yourselves," verse 3, "transgress the commandment of God for the sake of your tradition? For God says, 'Honor your father and mother,' and he who speaks evil of father or mother is to be put to death. But you say, 'Whoever says to his father or mother, whatever I have that would help you has been korban.'" It's been given to God. He is not to honor his father or his mother. And by this, you invalidated the command of God for the sake of your tradition. You hypocrites, rightly did Isaiah prophesy of you. This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrine the precepts of men. I don't care what color ties they wear at McDonald's. I don't care if they wash their hands before they eat. What are we doing here? We're wasting this time. Jesus, as this rabbi, is challenged by these leaders that are supposed to be in the know, and they come and ask an inane question. It's got to drive you nuts. That's the problem with religion. You're not doing it right. All religion that becomes legally based, that becomes law-based, we all end up down at that point where at some level in it, we're going to say, you're not doing it right. If y'all were doing it like us, you'd be doing it right, but you're not doing it right because you're not doing it like us. You're not doing it right. And Jesus says, look, people, when you came to worship, church is about something else. Church is about your heart, not your externals. The externals simply, they're just going through you. They don't define you. They don't defile you. They don't make you better. They don't make you worse. You're not made holy or righteous by keeping laws or by breaking laws. Wait a minute, sin is lawlessness. I understand Jesus is not lost here. But Jesus has a point. So he makes it in verse 10. After Jesus called the crowd to himself. So here's Jesus challenged by these Pharisees and scribes about hand washing, with a dialogue on the table of, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. You don't need to go to church today. Your heart is so far outside of the box that you can't do any good in there. You can't do any good in worship today. You're so focused on the externals of getting it right that there's no way you can get it right. Y'all ought to know better. Jesus called the crowd. He said to them, hear and understand, it is not what enters into the mouth that defiles the man, but what proceeds out of the mouth, this defiles the man. Simple sermon. This is what defiles the man. It's not what enters into the mouth, it's what comes out of the mouth. Disciples are shocked. Here's what they say, verse 12. Then the disciples came and said to Jesus, do you know that the Pharisees were offended when they heard this statement? No, I don't care. Jesus, you offended people. Don't you know Jesus is not supposed to offend anyone? That's not his job. That's not what he's about. He says, no, y'all read my job description. Don't tell me what my job description is. Read my job description. There's an issue going on. There's a real problem here. It's what comes out of your mouth that defiles you. And then he gets nice and graphic. In verse 13, he answered and said, every plant that my heavenly Father did not plant shall be uprooted. Wait a minute. You mean some of the charter members and some of the Pharisees and scribes are not planted by God? If they don't make it, no one will. He said, well, no. Let them alone, those Pharisees. They are blind guides. If a blind guides a blind man, both will fall into a pit. They're blind guides. How many of you want to follow a blind man? And some of them see a lot better than I do. I understand that. But how many of you want to follow a blind man? No, I should be leading. Exactly. Well, those Pharisees and scribes, he says, Just leave them alone. They're blind. I want you to wake up and realize that not everybody who has a religious voice should be followed. Not everybody that has something to declare to you and tells you this is what you ought to be doing is telling you what's really healthy. We talk about sound doctrine all the time. All sound doctrine means is that which produces health. And then we look at their lives and we see what it produces, and it produces disease of every kind. And the Pharisees are dividing and disturbing, and the scribes are upsetting everyone. And he says they're not producing any health in anyone. That's not what God meant by giving us his will, by telling us the 10 Decalogue words. That's not the message of God. He didn't mean for us to nitpick them to death and then tell everybody else they weren't doing it right. He says, here's how you can pursue the heart of God. These are blessings from God to guide your life, to help you be in control, to live honorable lives for him. It wasn't about what color tie you wore at McDonald's or whether you washed your hands when you came in out of the marketplace. Peter said to him, good old Peter, we need him, right? Peter said to him, explain to us the parable. So he says exactly what we want to hear. Would you tell us about that thing? What does it mean that it's not what goes in the mouth? We thought all those food restrictions, all those dietary goals were helpful. We thought that was the way to make God happy, to not eat pork. You know, we wanted to be careful. We've been really... He said, wait a minute. Peter said, explain the parable to us. And Jesus said to him, are you still lacking in understanding also? Do you not understand that everything that goes into the mouth passes into the stomach and is cast out on the latrine? Literally is what it says. Jesus is graphic. It is expelled. It is eliminated. It is the word for throw out. It is thrown out on the latrine. He says, the things that proceed out of the mouth come from the heart. Those defile the man. Out of the heart come thoughts, evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, slanders. These are the things which defile the man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile the man. That's not what messes you up. At worst, you're going to eliminate it. Everybody at my house I was about 5, but I was pretty quick. My grandmother killed a fly and I ate it, right? You know, grandmother nearly got sick, tells mom, he just ate a fly. Mom? Well. This too shall pass. That's what Jesus says, right? This too shall pass. I mean, you may want to wash your hands. I'm not saying that it's a great thing. I'm not saying that I want to come and eat at your house if you never wash your hands before you cook. But what I am saying is that's not the big deal. That's just going through you. That's sort of like living in the world but not being of the world. It's just going through you. Don't let it control you. Don't let it defile you. Don't let it touch you. Don't get consumed by it. Let it pass. It's not what defiles you. When those guys showed up and said, we don't think your disciples are doing it right, Jesus says they opened their mouth and told me what was in their heart. It's one of the most dangerous things you can do is say something. Because when you open your mouth, you tell everybody what's in your heart. And that's what Jesus is saying. It's what comes out of the heart that defiles the man. A lot of sermons would stop there, mine doesn't. Jesus went away. Now, he'd heard about John the Baptist. He's had to deal with these Pharisees, all that situation that had come up in the last chapter and this. So for the first time, and maybe the only time that we have recorded in his ministry, he goes to Tyre and Sidon. He goes outside of the normal Palestinian realm. He steps north and west to Tyre and Sidon. It's almost as if he's saying, I can't get any rest here. Every time I show up, I have to feed 5,000 people and heal everyone. And I'm going on a vacation. Well, he's not really doing that, but he's getting outside of the realm of his ministry. There's a lot of reasons for that. When he gets there, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and began to cry out saying,
have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. Wow. The Pharisees just said, you're not doing it right. And a Canaanite woman in Tyre and Sidon region shows up to Jesus and says, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is cruelly demon-possessed. He didn't answer her a word. What? Read that again, verse 23. He did not answer her a word. His disciples came and implored him, saying, send her away because she keeps shouting at us. He answered and said, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's a cool statement. I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He doesn't say, I was sent to the good folks that are Jews. He says, I'm sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's my target audience. I know my job. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's for the Jew first, and later that comes. Also, not now. Not now. I was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Don't you understand, disciples, that we have a target audience? We know where we're supposed to preach. She came and began to bow down before him. It's proskuneo. It is the word for worship. She worships him. She bows down before him, saying, Lord, help me. Lord, help me. He answered and said, it's not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. Jesus calls a woman a dog. You can't do that. It's not good to take the children's bread. I got this stuff for Israel. It's not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. You know what she says, right? It just doesn't get any better. Yes, Lord, but even the dogs feed on the crumbs which fall from the master's table. She doesn't say, I'm not a dog. She doesn't say, don't talk to me that way. I have rights. Don't you see me as an individual? He says, you're not my target audience. You're outside of my zone. And she says, help me. I'm confessing to everybody who you are. Well, I've got food for the kids. And she says, but even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table. That's enough. That's all I need. I'm not claiming to have rights. I'm not claiming to have access to you. What I'm telling you is my daughter is sick, and you are Lord, Son of David, and you can help me, and I'm not leaving until you let me in. Jesus said to her, "O woman, your faith is great. It shall be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed at once. Her daughter was healed at once. Looks like a cruel story, doesn't it? It's not a cruel story at all. Jesus has just modeled the biblical motif of the insiders don't get it and the outsiders are eating it up. He just told us the story of Naaman and Elisha, right? Naaman, they go in, the Aram, the Syrians do, capture some Israelites, take a little Israelite girl home. Naaman gets leprosy. Little Israelite girl says, "You know, I wish my master knew about the prophet in Israel. He'd fix him up. He'd heal him. He'd take care of him." Little girl in a foreign land says, "Our God is powerful." So Naaman goes to the king of Aram and says, "Hey, this little girl says I can be healed by a guy down in Israel." That's 2 Kings 5 if you want to write the reference. So he writes a letter to the king of Israel, and the king of Israel gets it, and Naaman delivers it, takes it to him. Said, "Here's one of my faithful servants, fix him." Wait a minute, he's got leprosy. I heard there's a guy down there that can heal leprosy. The king of Israel tears his clothes and says, this guy's trying to start a war with me. He doesn't say, I wonder if God can do anything. I wonder if there's anyone here that can help. No, the king of Israel has no clue how to access God. And the little girl in the foreign country, she says, I know where God is. Elisha, of course, tells him to go and dip in the Jordan 7 times. And he gets mad. You would too. We got better water than that in Texas. We don't need to go to Oklahoma for any healings, right? He says, no. If he told you to do something, wouldn't you do it if it was great, marvelous? Dip 7 times, looks like a baby. Totally healed. The outsiders get it, while the insiders don't. Were there no widows in Zarephath? Jesus asked. The outsiders get it. The prophets are having to run from Israel. The outsiders get it and the insiders don't. Don't let that happen to you this morning. Don't be the Church of Christ that came this morning that says, we got it and we're on the inside. I wish everybody had what we have. Instead of saying, we want Jesus, Lord, Son of David, help me. We brought our heart to worship you, not in vain. Lord, I'm sorry for the thing that we've made it, right? When it's all about you, Jesus, it's all about you. You're the King of kings and Lord of lords. You're the glorious impossible. You're the one who sits on the throne. That's who you are. Verse 29, departing from there, Jesus went along to by the Sea of Galilee, and having gone up on the mountain, he was sitting there. Large crowds came to him, bringing with him those who were lame, crippled, blind, mute, and many others, and they laid them down at his feet, and he healed them. So the crowd marveled as they saw the mute speaking, the crippled restored, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they glorified the God of Israel. Those are simply put there to tell you, oh, here's Matthew reminding us we have key signs of the Messiah. This is all of them. These are all the markers that the Messiah is going to use to prove that he's the Messiah. And Jesus is sitting on the mountain again after the Pharisees came and said, should we wash our hands? And a foreign woman says, Lord, help me. He's just sitting on a mountain doing Messiah things. 32 and following. Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I feel compassion for the people because they have remained with me 3 days and have had nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away hungry, for they may faint on the way. The disciples said to him, where would we get so many loaves in this desolate place to satisfy such a large crowd? And Jesus said to them, how many loaves do you have? They said 7 and a few small fish. He directed the people to sit down on the ground and took the 7 loaves and the fish, and giving thanks, he broke them, started giving them to the disciples. The disciples gave them to the people, and they all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 7 large baskets full. And those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And sending away the crowds, Jesus got into the boat and came to the region of Magadan. You see, the chapters repeated the book, right? Jesus does all the signs of the Messiah. And now the bread that came down out of heaven is again feeding bread to the masses. Welcoming the reign of God. You can't quite read the bottom line here, but the series is Welcoming the Reign of God, lessons from Matthew. We're welcoming the reign of God, longing for him to be in control and be in charge. And all through this chapter, those who will submit to the power of the Son of God receive. He came to reign, to fix stuff. I came to fix things. To fix your relationship with God, to fix things in your life. And to just prove to you that I can fix your relationship with God. I'll fix your bodies. I'll fix your hunger. I'll fix your demon-possessed daughter from a foreign land. I came to fix stuff. And the only ones I can't fix are the ones who say, You didn't wash your hands. He says, go home. Here's your take home this morning. If that's how you came this morning, with a legalistic attitude of you're not doing it right, I love you. So does Jesus. There's a different point. He wants to ask if your heart is healthy today. You're about to tell everybody what's in your heart. You're going to reveal that. Reveal grace and love and mercy and peace and share that with everybody around you this week. Reveal the control of God in your life. What's revealed when you open your mouth? Well, Christmas is going to stink this year. Son-in-law decided he'd show up anyway. That's not going to work, right? You just revealed everything that's in your heart. That church down there is crazy. That preacher, he doesn't even believe in washing your hands. We took away foot washing, now we're taking away hand washing. What are we going to do at church? He says, no. What's in your heart? God's looking at a deeper place. He's seeing things that we haven't thought about or acknowledged yet. We need to hear his message today. Where's your heart? Is your heart belonging to God? Or are you hanging up on stuff that is pretty important to you, but would Jesus say it really matters? It's just not that big a deal. The big deal is, I am the Son of God, and I will help you if you bring your heart to me. Together we stand and sing.